What's going on YouTube? It's Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, man. We're back with another video. We talk about fragrance and fashion on this channel, so if looking good and smelling great is your thing, then I invite you to hit the subscribe button and also make sure that you click that bell icon as well, so that when I drop new videos on the channel, you get notified. So guys, on today's video is going to be a fragrance haul video. Now, I haven't bought a lot of designer fragrances over the past 2 months or so. I bought a lot of niche fragrances. So that's going to compose most of this list for the most part. I found that a lot of the designer fragrances that were newer fragrances that I wanted to get, I picked a lot of those fragrances up. I actually picked up a lot more of the newer designer fragrance releases from this past year. I picked a lot of those up earlier this year. So the last couple months, man, although there haven't been much going on in the designer game, I'm a collector. So a lot of the fragrances on the list today are going to consist of one house. I think I've pretty much, with the exception of maybe one fragrance, have kind of completed my collection from a particular fragrance house. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But guys, again, this is a luxury fragrance haul video. Some fragrances I've acquired over the last, I would say, two and a half months. I haven't done a fragrance haul video in a minute, so I think this is going to be fun for you guys to see what I've actually picked up. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know how we get down. Keep it locked right here. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to jump right into this fragrance list. Now, the fragrance house that I delved more into over the past few weeks, the past 2 months or so, is the house of Bond No. 9. If you've been following me for any amount of time, I think you know it's no secret. I really enjoy fragrances from Bond. Simply put, regardless of press, bad publicity, opinions of other folks in the fragrance community, as a whole, this is just a house that I like, you know, so it is what it is. I love them. And this is for certain the fragrance house where I have the most bottles in this house. And again, I just kind of had this urge and desire for some of the ones that I have been thinking about acquiring now for a while. Actually, some of these are fragrances that I've had before and got rid of and wanted to get them back. So again, most of the list is going to consist of a lot of Bond No. 9 fragrances. So I have a lot of fragrances on the list today. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I just want to kind of get through this kind of quickly. Just want to show you what I picked up, and we'll go from there. I'll give some quick thoughts and move forward. So the first fragrance from Bond No. 9 that I picked up here recently was this one, and it's called Jones Beach. Jones Beach. Now this one, I've smelled it before, but it kind of gives me this suntan lotion kind of vibe. I know there's not a note of banana, but if there was ever banana in a fragrance, I think it would smell something like this. So it kind of gives, again, that really beachy, as the name indicates, suntan vibe kind of feel. And it's one that I'm looking forward to wearing this upcoming summer. It's from the Beach collection. There's several other fragrances from Bond that fall into the Beach collection. And this is the newest one. I think this was released around the end of 2018, 2019, I think. But again, not anything groundbreaking, of course, by any means, but it's one that I did smell. I did like it. I got this at a nice discounted prices. There are some trusted sellers on eBay, so always look at the ratings. If you're going to buy something from eBay, look at the ratings of those sellers. But I got a lot of these guys at heavily discounted prices, and that's one of the things I really like about Bond, especially if you're a person that doesn't mind getting the testers. The testers that come without the cap, you can find a lot of the 3.3 ounce bottles for less than 130 bucks. So definitely at that price point, in my humble opinion, great buys from Bond. I personally like to have caps on mine, but you can still find these at great prices. But anyway, I kind of think this one is a reincarnation of Fire Island from Bond No. 9 because it had a very similar vibe to it. And I think that's something Bond, I've noticed they've kind of been doing over the past 2 years. A lot of their older releases, some of the ones that not as popular, or maybe some of the discontinued ones. They kind of brought out new fragrances that were kind of recreations of the older fragrances. We'll hear more about that on this list. But anyway, Jones Beach is one that I got. Now the next one that I picked up here, this one is called New York Nights. And this is kind of this one is a classic. A lot of people talk about New York Nights. I think men and women alike, this is one of the Bond fragrances that were well received. Beautiful florals in this one, gardenia, I think carnation in the opening of this. Now the stars to me, because I like sweeter fragrances, is when it dries down, it has a beautiful combination of caramel, I think, and coffee, if I'm not mistaken. But man, this is a really good one. I wore this one, got a lot of compliments on this fragrance right here, as well as another one I'm going to talk about in a moment. But guys, this one is as good as advertised. So that's Bond number 9, New York Nights. Now the next Bond that I picked up, this is the one that I have a love-hate relationship with. And I had it before, sold it, got it back. Because now I know how I need to wear this fragrance. And it's this one right here from Bond number 9, and this Wall Street. Wall Street. Some people have kind of compared this to Millesime Imperial or Sean John's Unforgivable. I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from with that. But this one, I did a full review on it closer to when I first started this channel. And I said that this fragrance smells like a wet dog on my skin. When it starts to dry down, I think it's a combination of the sea kale or the seaweed and the cucumber. Just something doesn't play that well on my skin. But what I've learned about this fragrance is this. Because it happens that way, it develops that way on my skin, I just spray this on my clothes. And instead of it smelling like that kind of wet dog smell, it smells like money. And again, when I think about it in that regard and I spray it on my clothes, I really do like it. So weird fragrance for me, but it was one that I have a love-hate relationship with, and the love won me over. And it is one from the collection that I did want to have. So that's Wall Street from Bond number 9. This one right here is called Liberty Island. And this is kind of just a fun spring summer fragrance, florals. This one has a very unique marshmallow accord in here. Light, good for the spring. I think is the best season for this, but it's one that I did like when I smelled it initially. A casual fragrance, nice to go out in the spring, maybe even summertime, running errands, kind of casually dressed. This is a good one to have. I like the way it smells for sure. Now this next one is called My New York. This one has a note of rose. I'm sorry. Very unique as well. And rose is the primary note in this one. You guys know I love a good rose fragrance. But this one also has some beautiful, sweeter, more gourmand elements as it starts to dry down. So I really, really like this one. This was the other one that I've worn here recently and got nice feedback. This one is called My New York. And I think this one was released in 2020. If I'm not mistaken. So the tail end of 2019 or 2020. But again, one of the newer or latest releases. This one is really good as well. Another one that was on my radar for a long time and I wanted to go ahead and get it in the collection was this one. Is called Brooklyn. This one's called Brooklyn. Nice citruses up top. The dry down is all about leather. Love this scent. Very unique scent DNA right here, but it's one I've always loved. It wasn't initially my favorite, but it's one that I really liked. So I want to go ahead and add that to the collection as well. Governor's Island. A lot of people talk really good about this fragrance. Now this one is different as well because it's not really like the typical Bond number 9 fragrance. I think it's great for the winter and fall seasons, but it's a nice incensey kind of fragrance that it sits really close to the skin, but it lasts for a long time. So one I'm looking forward to exploring more this winter season. That's called Governor's Island. All right, so the next one that I picked up is one that this bottle is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I think this one was definitely marketed as a unisex fragrance. It's definitely that, but this one is called Astor Place. Look at that beautiful bottle. That's a gorgeous bottle right there. And this one is very, very much unisex to me. It does put me in the mind of some other Bond number 9 fragrances, like primarily Sag Harbor. This kind of reminds me of Sag Harbor, which is one that I have in my collection that I love. It's underrated in my opinion. Definitely unisex, but men, you can definitely pull this off. Don't be fooled by the bottle. An amazing fragrance. Again, I think will be good for the spring season. It has a very unique freesia note, which is a floral note. Very unique in this one, but it dries down teak wood and amber. There's a mandarin orange in the opening that I love it. I love the opening of this fragrance. It's kind of powdery as well, but this is a good one, guys. We can definitely rock this. This is called Astor Place. All right, another one that I got. This one is one that I've never heard anybody talk about this fragrance, but this one is called West Broadway. West Broadway, gonna be in high rotation for me in the spring and summer. I think this one has lime and lily of the valley. Just a very refreshing, very invigorating and uplifting fragrance. Love this one right here. This is called West Broadway. You can find this one at a good price, so check that one out. Now, one of the classics from Bond that I didn't have, it's been getting a little bit harder to find, is discounted. Now, I think Bond still has it on the Bond number 9 side, of course, but Coney Island, one that I've actually had on my radar for a while as well. I went on ahead and added this to the collection. This is kind of a nice sea salty fragrance, but it has some unique notes like some caramel, some other things going on in this that makes it really, really unique. But this is a really, really good one. Again, looking forward to wearing this in the spring and summer as well. We have 3 more. One I don't have down here, but I'll mention it. But this one right here, guys, Shelter Island. Shelter Island. There was a note listed in here that I think it was it seaweed or sea kale or something like that was listed as a note in this, and that turned me off for a while because I thought it would smell similar to Wall Street. So for a while that kept me away from Shelter Island, but I'm glad that I picked this up. This is a more masculine take on the DNA of Sag Harbor and Astor Place. So if you smelled those 2 fragrances before, but it was a little bit too feminine for you, then I would recommend this one right here, Shelter Island, because again, it's going to remind you of those 2, but it's a little bit more woody, a little bit more, I would say a little bit more masculine compared to those 2, but it's really, really good. And of course, the newest release from Bond number 9, Nomadic, which I did a first impressions on this. I'll do a full review coming up soon. But this one to me, again, is good. Again, reminds me of some other Bond fragrances that I said before, Greenwich Village, primarily to my nose. And I also, guys, picked up bondnumber9.com again. And I picked it up in the 3.3 ounce bottle. I had it in a smaller bottle, but I like for all my bottles, if I'm collecting a particular house or a collection, if I can, to be the same size. It was a smaller bottle, got rid of it a while ago, reacquired that one here more recently. So bondnumber9.com, I added that one as well. Now, really quickly, there's 5 more fragrances that I want to mention here. I picked up Overture Man from Amouage. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. This thing right here is boozy. It is smoky, leathery incense. Again, this is for fragrance connoisseurs out there. This is not going to be for the people that like easy to wear, mass appealing scents. This is not this. But I think for people that really appreciate a very daring fragrance, this is one that you may want to check out from Amouage, which is a house I love. That's Overture. Now, I also picked up 2 fragrances from the Christian Dior private collection. We got Tobacolor, and this is honey and tobacco. Now, when I first smelled this, the first fragrance that popped up in my mind, this fragrance reminds me of by Kilian's Back to Black. The honey in this, very reminiscent to what you get from Back to Black. So I picked this one up. I actually wore this on Thanksgiving. I really like it. Great performance on that one. I also picked this one up from Amouage. This one is called Boundless. I picked this one up. Me and my family and I took a trip down to the, I think it was Neiman Marcus, and I picked this one up full retail. It's been one I've been wanting for a while. But just my kind of scent. So I'll be doing a full review of Boundless coming up pretty soon. Now, one of the only designer fragrances on this list, I think this is the only designer fragrance on this list, unless you count the private collections of Christian Dior as designer fragrances. But anyway, this one from Polo, the new Polo Green. Now, I immediately dismissed this fragrance because when it first came out, I will tell you, I don't care. Folks like what they like. I'm not a fan of the original Polo Green. I can't stand that fragrance. To be quite honest with you, it gives me a headache. And so I kind of dismissed this one when it came out initially because I thought it would be much of the same. But to my surprise, this is a much more modernized, wearable version of that fragrance, and I actually do like this. So I picked up this one, again, the Polo Green. And last but not least, another one from the private collection of Christian Dior. This is called Vanilla Diorama. And I'll preserve my full thoughts when I do a review of this one, but I will tell you this is really, really, really good. Of course, vanilla is the main note, so I'm going to be doing a full review of that one coming up pretty soon. But that's about it, guys. I just wanted to come and tell you guys about some of the fragrances I purchased here over the last 2 months or so. As always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention to these videos. You guys don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, guys, don't forget to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and share these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining, because I'm your guy, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love looking good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better, because I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.